We have a wonderful relationship, as you know, with our large local public school districts, with our local universities. What do you see in our partnership between our organizations that's exciting to you that we can do together?
Well, I think there's many exciting opportunities educationally. I think the first thing we have to do is get our mindset away from education. Oh, that means the 15-year-olds who are sitting in junior high school who are going to learn about the Second World War or world history. Education is a lifelong process. It begins in kindergarten, actually begins at home before kindergarten, and it goes all the way through. And so education in the context of the Holocaust Museum of Hope and Humanity is not narrowly defined, but is very broadly defined. And I think that's the first opportunity that a museum has that maybe a classroom doesn't have, where they've got curriculum needs to meet. So the question might be, how along that trajectory of learning at different touch points in a young person and then an older person's life, can the Holocaust Museum of Hope and Humanity continue to build the educational process? One thing for certain is it shouldn't be part of a 2-hour visit in which they come in and then they've seen what they have to see and then they leave and it's done. There needs to be this kind of, first of all, this pre-visit, relationship with those who are educators, formal and informal. There needs to be the experience itself, which should take those learners into new ways of learning, not necessarily what they take away with them, but the way in which they can continue to learn. And then there's the follow-up to that, which is then, so what does that mean in the world that they return to? And how do they start to make sense of what they've learned and use the tools that they've gained to continue to fuel their curiosity? I love the fact that the Holocaust Museum of Hope and Humanity is very focused on starting young. I think this is absolutely essential. So many of the values and principles of how we learn and what we think and how we behave are deeply learned much before secondary school, and are acted out in playgrounds and in relationships and in family homes. And so actually having the ability to have some sort of children's museum that will enable young people to be able to look deeply into to history, but also to start to learn about their own behaviors. So important. I've been involved in a number of museums and a number of projects that include working with younger children. And I have to say, it's been some of the most rewarding work that I've been involved in. To see young people that maybe don't have the historical knowledge at all, but as that history is introduced to them, then actually seeing them see how it fits into their world and their values and their behaviors is really just remarkable. And I know that'll be an essential part of what you do. I think the other aspect that's in mind here, which I think is also so essential, is pairing the Holocaust as a history with the issues around human rights education and what it means to be an actor in the world today, and how you apply that in the world today is a really critical part of what this whole experience will be centered around. And I think that is the key, actually. That if the Holocaust is an historical period that's sort of left in the past that you look back on, then actually, I don't know that we even need the museum. That could be done through videos and books and whatever, if it's about a history lesson. But if you really want, we really want our users to then, our visitors, to come through this experience and make sense of it in the world, then it has to place it in the context of the world in which they live, so that they can see how these things fit together, that their behaviors and their actions when they leave the building really do matter in the world.